Coleman Report live, March 28th. Lance, we're 6 months through the fiscal year, 3 months through our calendar year. You and I have a lot of gray hair, but this is going fast.
Yeah, it's going fast, Bob. And I think the crazy thing, and I don't know how our other participant lenders feel, it seems like even with the shutdown, there is a intensity of small business lending right now, Bob. It seems like opportunities are coming from every direction.
Lance, I had a conversation. You know, I spent a lot of time in Fox News during the recession, and my 15 minutes is up. I haven't been asked back. And you know why? Not because I'm a good guy. It's because small business lending is up. And as long as it's up, they're not going to call me to comment.
Well, I think that, we will see over time. I do. But right now, Bob, it's good. There are plenty of opportunities, plenty of small businesses looking for loans. And of course, the SBA program is a great way to take care of it.
And we always have to emphasize SBA does not cost the federal taxpayer a dime. No. It is funded by your borrower fees and your lender fees. And it's a zero-sum game. So yeah, we have to pay for some overhead. But let's not forget when we talk about SBA lending, and that's why we have a program. The Republicans in Congress support a zero subsidy. You've talked to them. I've talked to them. Anyway, hey, but let's go to we have a ton of news. We're sort of deviating. I am. Please send your questions. Download your certificates. Who protects your company from fraudulently obtaining guarantees for loans that SBA says are ineligible?
Bob,
why are we asking?
Well, I mean, it's important to note that eligibility. I was just recording, Bob, an SBA Express lender certification course, and we talked about eligibility. SBA participant lenders need to understand eligibility, particularly when they're doing delegated loans, and somebody.
Oh, I love that answer. Look at that, Lance.
I am impressed with that because they are in line with me. I believe everybody involved in the process, underwriters, closers, managers, loan officers should all be involved in making sure that the loans
everyone has. We're going to talk about the Cariaghi indictment. I've read it. Lance has read it. We have it up on the website. Everyone involved in this process has the right to hold up a sign that says stop.
Yeah.
And that's what the purpose of this poll question is, because careers have been ruined. People are going to go to jail. The industry is going to take a hit. And we need to understand who our partners are, Lance. Our partners build prisons and carry guns.
Well, the thing that's so important to understand is you can't, as a participant lender, say, no, it's not my responsibility. The LSP did it. And see, there's quite often in banking when things go bad, they want to say, that person did it, but you as the SBA.
Someone got indicted as being an employee.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll talk about that. Okay, let's go to the second poll question. Let's get into the meat. For SBA 7 loans greater than $500,000 by commercial real property secured by commercial real property, CRE, do we need an appraisal, Lance?
Hopefully we will get 100% response on this. There was a new release information notice.
I'll take 95%. I'll take 95%.
Yeah. Well, SBA said when the 50-10-5K came out that you could go ahead, even though it was not in there, be in line with what the regulators told you. And yesterday there was an information notice that came out that says SBA's SOP now supports 500K and up needs a third party, 500K and under use prudent lending standards.
And also remember, these are minimum standards. You can still order an appraisal on a property for $400,000 if you wish, and you can have the borrower pay for it. If that's what you do for your conventional portfolio, consider it. All right, let's get into this story. First of all, Lance and I do not assign homework, but we are going to today in your go-to webinar dashboard. I guess it's under indictment. Please download it, read it. This is stuff, Lance, that's happened 15 years ago. It's one of the biggest frauds in our industry. The the thing that stood out to me, Lance, is 5 employees were indicted. Normally we go after the head and we go after the 1 or 2 bosses. This case, she did not have the courtesy of self-reporting. They went to her ranch. You can go to her LinkedIn page. Guns drawn. I mean, the feds are taking this seriously. And what's your opinion about all this, Lance?
Well, and I'll preface this by saying, Bob, I know the people at.
Yeah, we all know them. They're friends.
I know Carrie. I've presented with Carrie at Flagel. I presented with Carrie at Malk. I like Carrie.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that's important to note here, just because you're working with an LSP doesn't mean you can say, oh, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to know anything about SBA lending. You do. And the thing that really, and it's what you said, Bob, I'm not surprised by them coming after the founders, the chief executive officer, but I was blown away by them just coming after a basic loan processing employee as well.
I'm sorry, Nicole, but Nicole Smith Kelso, 46, an employee. I mean, she'll never have a job in the industry again. It's horrible.
Yeah, and it just goes to show the thing, you need to educate yourself about SBA lending. You need to understand the SOP. It doesn't matter if you process your own loans. And LSPs are an excellent way for a small lender to build an SBA lending program, but it doesn't take away your responsibility to understand what's happening.
My criticism of former frauds, I call them checklist lenders. We do everything on the checklist. We can get the loan approved. That's what's being alleged in this situation. The indictment's 34 pages. It's very detailed. There's 7 loans about we're funding equity injection. We're funding businesses that are ineligible. Please read it, distribute it. There's no winners in this situation. And as you said, Lance, these are friends of ours, friends of the industry. Carrie was on the board of Nagel, one of the premium sponsors, and this is not. Here's the takeaway: understand the rules, listen to what Lance says. Lance knows what he's talking about, and you are not allowed to waive an eligibility issue, and you have the right. In fact, the federal government is saying, no, you have the right. You're going to go to jail if you don't hold up your hands, say, guys, these are the rules, and we can't do it.
Well, Bob, and if everybody was perfect on their knowledge of eligibility, there wouldn't be a such thing as GP processing. There are many circumstances where I'll get a loan project, and I'm just not sure. Somebody that studied the SOP their entire life, I'm not sure, and I submit it for GP processing. It just go well. And one great benefit of all this, Bob, is we have strengthened requirements for the LSP participant bank relationship in the SOP. We used to not have anything.
My other takeaway on this is let's be careful about our emails. What got them indicted was the email thread. And there was things along the lines of, work your magic and do this. And never, ever write an email assuming it's going to be personal. Always assume other people are going to read it, including the person you may be talking about and the federal government. Let's be careful about that, Lance.
Well, and the thing, Newtek is a great company, and Newtek acquired BankServe, but all this happened long before Newtek was involved with them.
And Newtek's been very fair. We reached out to them late Friday night. I talked to the CEO, Barry Sloan. He got back to me right away. He gave us, that statement had to be vetted by their lawyers and their directors and compliance. We got that statement within an hour. It was a generic statement, but we appreciated that we were allowing Newtek to go ahead and respond to that. And so good for them. And they're a publicly held company. We understand that when we report stuff, it affects them. It affects their stock, and we take that job seriously. And let's just be very, very specific. Newtek is not involved. It was a subsidiary. It wasn't even a subsidiary, Lance. It was I don't know what a portfolio company is. Obviously, they're going to wind that down. And I mean, this is a sad day for the industry. Look at these people.
Yeah, again, these are our friends, but rules were broken. SBA's put in place some requirements again that'll not let this happen again. But one thing I want to emphasize, Bob, when you, the SBA participant lender, sign the SBA Form 1920, you're on the hook.
You know what? She was one of these people was arrested. You know what they were indicted for, Lance? They did not check the box on the 1920 regarding a refinance or regarding a business. They just left it blank. They were indicted for failure to check a box because the 1920 at the end says, I certify all this information is accurate. Anyway, Lance and I are railing, and we're talking to preaching to the choir, but we cannot emphasize how important when you fill out that 1920 that your job is.
Well, and I was talking on the Express certification course, Bob, about the 1919. The most common place that we miss is page 3, where the borrower is required to initial on 4 different questions. And I promise you, if you have a 1919 in file where those initials are not there and SBA reviews that file, you're going to get wrote up for that. You're not going to go to prison, but you're going to get wrote up for it.
Yeah, and we want to put this all into context. This was a 13, 14-year situation. This was not a one standalone off balance sheet, outlier event. I believe for so there was a pattern of cutting corners. And anyway, I encourage you to understand the federal government is not going to go after a one-off, one situation. It's a pattern, so we need to keep this all in the context. But again, Lance, you have the right, you don't have the right, you have the duty to hold up your hand and say, gang, we can't do this. And everyone who works for a SBA lender has that right to say that. And not only do they have the right, they have a responsibility.
Yes, it's an obligation, Bob. And the closer certification course, that's something we tell every closer. If something doesn't look right, throw your hands up and say stop. Because it's, again, when we sign the form, we're certifying the information.
Lance, let's go through it. I have an undergrad degree in medieval history, which is being mocked these days because it's from USC. I want to go on record. I paid for that myself. My parents didn't pay for that. But I have a real degree in real estate finance, my MBA, and these are the 5 steps. And our analogy is this. The BDO is the developer. They go out there, they scan the landscape, they see a vacant tract of land, they say, hey, we can loan some money and build the thing. The underwriter is the architect. They take that BDO's vision and they write up the outline for it. Lance, the closer, is the constructor.
Yeah.
The closer is the person who buys the material and builds this asset for Main Street and for the lender. Without the closer, you're creating an asset out of thin air. The servicer is the facilities manager. That's what my wife did before she retired in Hollywood. She goes and collects the rent and makes sure and the liquidator is, if something goes wrong, they collect the insurance proceeds. And Lance, what do you think of that analogy?
Hey, Bob, I really hate to. I told you about this. Guys, I've got a meeting in 5 minutes. I've got to run out.
Come on, Lance, that's not fair. What is the meeting and why are you being a good parent?
Well, my daughter got pulled over by a trooper, and she is required to appear in court, and a parent is required to be with her, guys. So I'm going to go and support her in that effort. So, guys, thank you very much, and have a good week.
Go to the ATM, Lance, and pay them, and we'll talk to you later. Okay, very good. Let's see, where else are we going now? We've talked about, this is a change we all should be aware of. We talked about the appraisal requirements. SBA appraisal requirements are now in line with the Fed, so the two match, which is nice. you need something over 500,000. Again, though, if you choose, if you're in a little rural area on a main street and you really don't know what the values are, you are definitely within your right to order an appraisal. Ryan asked the question, the current SOP regarding partner buyouts, the debt to worth ratio is to be measured on a pro forma basis, correct? While in the new SOP, it references most fiscal year and quarter financials. Ryan, you have the right to choose how you want to calculate any financial ratio, whether it's off the tax returns, off the last year's financial, off of projections, off of 3 years financials. The only guidance that you have from SBA is this: be consistent with your conventional portfolio as your SBA portfolio. If you're going to require cash flow based on tax returns on your conventional underwriting portfolio, you have to do that with SBA. SBA is giving you the keys to the kingdom on what to do, but you have to just be consistent. And that's what you can do it off projections, tax returns, financials. I will tell you, polls that we've done, people we've talked to, I'm not saying this is a best industry practice, but I'm saying a general industry benchmark is we're going to take the 3 years financials and average them off of tax returns. We know we're dealing with some unsophisticated borrowers, and sometimes all we get are the tax returns, and that's okay. SBA allows that. All that we're telling you is let's go ahead and be consistent. The survey will be done by tomorrow. If you participated, we'll get that all back to you beginning next week. But we have the compensation surveys, and I think some of you measured my angst from last week, because that's what I am doing. We're starting our spring training. We have a brand new curriculum. Lance and I are both videotaping new stuff with the new SBA 5010. We're going to hold off on, we're going to do underwriting and closing. It's going to be available April 1. Servicing and liquidation, we're going to hold off on that till the new 5057 comes out, which we expect in a couple of weeks. Hey, we're big fans of regional conferences. There they are. Please sign up. All of these are great events. All of these are well represented by SBA. Guys, I think I asked last week, let's be sure and put on the NADCO and NAGL events, so if people want to go to them. The difference is NADCO and NAGL are more for the managers, CEOs, C-levels. These events are for your entire staff. They're great to bring your underwriters, your closers, and we're talking a couple $100. I mean, these are well-priced, great networking. I strongly support all of these, and I encourage them. We had to move things around. We're doing our veterinarian webinar next month. Be sure and sign up for that, and you can see what we have. And with that, since Lance isn't here, I'm going to call it a day early, and thank you all for joining us. We will have much more coverage about the BankServe situation, and thank you for joining us.